And the jury pool could make or break how Arbery's family receives justice in this case. Hundreds of people have been called potential jurors. The disturbing video of the incident leaked online months after the incident took place. After no action, its release accelerated legal action against a suspected gunman. Now, due to widespread outcry to this video, finding a pool of impartial jurors could take up to weeks. And one of the earlier people to post this video to social media is journalist and activist Shaun King is with us from New York today. Shaun, thank you so much for joining us here on the Midday Jolt.
No, glad to be here and glad to talk about this case.
A very important topic taking place right now nationwide. You also shared a powerful tweet this morning reminding the world not to call this the Ahmaud Arbery trial. Now, could you break this down for our viewers?
Well, what we see anytime there's a case of police violence or racial injustice, what we see is that people call it the Ahmaud Arbery trial. But when you have somebody that's black who actually may commit a crime, they'll still call that the trial of that person. So whether it's a black victim or a black perpetrator, they name the trial after that person. And we're saying, no, listen, this is the McMichael Bryan trial. These three men who did just as Attorney Crump said in the video that you just played, committed a modern day lynching in broad daylight. This is the trial of these three men, and we need to understand Ahmaud is not on trial, and not only should we not call it the Ahmaud Arbery trial, Ahmaud's family and his family's attorneys have had to fight tooth and nail to just make sure that this trial is not about putting Ahmaud back on trial and examining his past, which had nothing to do with what happened on that day.
Now, Shaun, I mean, we could all agree this video was very disturbing to watch. That video release impacted last year's social justice movement. Now, what do you think the trial will mean for younger Americans watching right now?
Well, you also heard Attorney Crump mention the name of Emmett Till, and Attorney Crump and I both still know Emmett Till's family, who are still alive. Mind-blowing to me, still fighting for justice for him. Anybody who was alive during that age, that case shaped how they saw the civil rights movement, how they saw injustice in America. And I think this case will do the same thing. You know, often we put Ahmaud's name next to the name of Breonna Taylor and George Floyd because these three murders happened all in the same period in the early days of COVID. But Ahmaud's case is not a case of police violence. It's just deep racial injustice. And so it's a reminder that however much we think this nation has progressed, that there are places where men literally think that they could arm themselves and chase and lynch a young black man who's just jogging through a neighborhood.
All right. Now, Shaun, let's break it down. How do you feel about the evidence presented and how it will influence the trial's outcome?
Well, the evidence is strong. You know, right now they're still in jury selection, and I'm actually really concerned about the jury selection. We have to remind ourselves that this jury is going to be a jury of the peers of the men who killed Ahmaud. The jury is not necessarily going to be a jury of Ahmaud's peers. And we have to also remind ourselves that for months after these men murdered Ahmaud, they're in Brunswick. This continued for months on end. I remember when Wanda Cooper Jones told me she saw these men who killed Ahmaud just walking out about town, grocery shopping. And so this was a town that, by and large, its white citizens and white power structure were fully willing to just let this go until the city and the county and the state and the world put pressure on them. I think the evidence, though, is overwhelming. And not only that video, but one of the three men who's been charged has already started to testify against the father and son. And so there's strong evidence. I think there'll be a conviction here, but it's all going to come down to this jury, and only one person could hold out and wreck the whole thing.
Yeah, it's been months since the nation has been crying for some change in our nation. What could this case mean for similar cases in the future?
Well, we hope it sets a precedent. You know, we're not used to white men who murder a black man being charged and convicted. We saw that in the case of the murder of George Floyd. The first officer has been convicted, and we hope that there'll still be some type of accountability. You know, a lot of us have stopped using the word justice. Justice is a bigger concept, a bigger idea. what we're fighting for here is accountability. We want these three men to be held accountable for what they did. We want the men who killed Breonna Taylor to be held accountable for what they did. And we want this to be a trend that if you harm Black men, women, boys, or girls, you're held accountable. And so we hope that this is one of those moments that we can say our country is better today than it was a year ago or 10 years ago, and that the people of Brunswick can do right by this family and hold these three men accountable.
Now, Shaun, let's talk about that accountability. This case inspired so much action, but what can people watching at home do to keep that movement going besides just sharing a post on social media?
Well, there's a lot they can do. You know, there are a few things that happen locally, and I'm proud of local activists and organizers there in Brunswick who not only fought to oust the district attorney who refused to prosecute these men. That woman has now been charged with a crime, was arrested and prosecuted for her role in protecting the men who killed Ahmaud. And so, you know, when we say how much voting matters, we often don't tell the whole story. Like, it's not just enough to say vote, but locally, people voted and put in a new district attorney. Now, it's yet to be seen if the new district attorney of the county is going to be great, but they ousted a horrible district attorney, and she's being held accountable. So we can see the consequences of these types of elections. I help run an organization that elects new district attorneys all over the country. Had this county had a district attorney that actually loved all the citizens of the county, it wouldn't have taken a movement to get these three men arrested. They would have been arrested that day. It was clear that they were the perpetrators. And so, you know, it can be difficult when you are 1,000 miles or 5,000 miles away from South Georgia to know, well, what can I do? But there are local organizations you can give to, but you also have to do something. And I have to warn people on this. It's not enough for you to care about the injustice that's far away from you. You have to say, what am I doing about injustice in my neighborhood, in my county, in my state? So we see a lot of people who have a huge heart for an injustice that's not in their own backyard. And I want to encourage people who see this now or later to also care about the injustice that's happening in your town.
Most definitely. Now we have to address this other news. The world is currently mourning the passing of former Secretary of State Colin Powell. What was your reaction when you heard this news this morning?
Well, my first reaction was I was shocked. You know, I hadn't even realized that he was 84 years old. We're all getting older as well. And he was just a figure that had been present in our lives seemingly forever. I was a young boy during the first Iraq War and remember his presence. It's difficult, and I saw Mark Lamont Hill say something that I thought was brilliant earlier today. His sentiment is my sentiment. General Powell, Secretary of State Powell, was a nice human being, and his story in some ways is inspirational, coming where he came from, rising up through power. It doesn't mean that we can't also have strong feelings and critiques about his foreign policy. But right now, for me, it's just a time to grieve alongside his family and others, but also understand that to be Black in America and have a family member in the military is often a real confusing situation because American foreign policy is often like really abusive. In the montage that you played of Secretary of State Powell earlier, you all showed this moment of him testifying before the United Nations, saying that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction when they didn't. Over 200,000 civilians died in Iraq because of that war. So imagine if any of us made a mistake so big that it cost 200,000 people their lives. We have to be understanding enough to say there are people who love this man, and we saw some of them in the clips that you played, but there are also people who see him and see him even as a war criminal all around the world. And we just have to deal with that juxtaposition on how you can love somebody for how they rise up through America, but still critique their policy positions.
Shaun, very important perspectives on both of these topics. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Midday Jolt.